Okay, students, it's Ms. Briggs here. I'm going to show you guys how everything you need to know for the Photoshop guided notes in order to do your elements of art project. So I have Photoshop already open, but my computer's a little different than yours. To find Photoshop, sorry I can't show you because my computer's different, but to find Photoshop, you're going to go onto your desktop and you're going to find the little folder that says Mrs. Briggs. In that little folder, you'll be able to see Photoshop, and you'll see this tiny little icon, and that shows that it's Photoshop. We're going to go ahead and start by, you're going to go ahead and find the Photoshop icon from online and insert it into your notes. And then after you've done that, you can go ahead and continue on with the notes, and we're going to start by importing an image into Photoshop. So how do I open an image in Photoshop? This is how you're going to do it. You can either click right here where it says open, but in the notes it tells you file, open. So go ahead and write that in your notes, file, open. And you're going to go find the image that you want to open. Your images are mostly on your student folder, but the image I want to edit today is going to be right here. I'm going to do this photograph that I took a while back. Hopefully it's in good quality. We'll see. So as you can see right here, I have this photograph, and we are going to start by learning another way to open something in Photoshop. So we're going to open a blank document in Photoshop as well. So File, New, to make a brand new document in Photoshop. And this is all in your notes as well. The first thing you're going to do when you make a new document is give your document a name. So we're going to name this one Elements of Art. If I can spell. Elements of Art. And then you would need to change your pixels into inches. Mine's already set like that because I was just barely doing something in Photoshop, but yours is usually automatically set to pixels, so make sure you change it into inches. And then you're going to set your width to 11, your height to 8.5, and you can change the color of your background. I'm going to go ahead and do a cute pink background, but you can even just keep it white or black. There's other options here as well. White, black, and then you can choose your background color if you want. So I'm going to go ahead and press create. As you can see, when we press create, a new little tab pops up in Photoshop. This is just like if you're using Chrome. You'll have two different tabs that you can toggle between to work on your project. So this is where we're going to put all 7 of our elements of art photographs and label them. We're going to put all of them on one sheet of paper. Before we do that, we need to start editing our photos. So you'll have 7 different photos that you'll need to edit. We're going to go over a few tools just right now. The first tool is this Move tool. The Move tool, in your notes, it asks you to give a definition of what the Move tool does. You can see right here it says the Move tool moves a selection or layer. I'll linger on that for a second for you to write down in your notes. A Move tool moves a selection or layer. Okay, the Move tool is your best friend. It's a safe tool. So what that means is if you're on the Move tool, nothing bad really will happen usually, which is always great because in Photoshop things tend to be a little bit more complicated. With this Move tool, we can move this photo onto this background. I'm going to show you how to do that. You take your mouse and you grab your photograph, you click, you drag to the top over here. Oh, I let go. Let's try it. Drag, linger right here. It should come up. Does it bring it up? Why isn't it working? Sorry guys, one sec. I'm using my laptop, which is kind of different. So I'm dragging, I'm lingering right here. I'm going to bring it into the center and I'm going to drop it. And you can press OK if a notification pops up. Let's do that one more time. Since the first time I didn't do a very good job. You're going to grab it by clicking down, linger on your main tab, bring it in, and drop. And you can press OK. And now we have two of this picture, but we only need one, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. As you can see over here, we opened, when we dropped that image, it became its own layer. That means that I can move this specific layer around all over in the photograph, which is in the background, which is great. So with the move tool, when you move something onto a new background, you might find that the image is too big. In this case, it's probably too big. I couldn't fit my full 7 images for the elements of art on this page by itself, with this image being this big. So the next command that I'm going to teach you is Control-T, as in T-Rex. I don't even know. Tiger. Control-T allows you to resize your image. So I can click on the corner over here and slowly make my image smaller so that it fits on my paper. And I have to press enter in order to solidify it. So Control-T, I resize it, and when it's where I want it to be, I press enter, which is super easy. Okay, the next thing that you'll want to do, so the next most important tool, two commands that I forgot to teach you, and I think they're before the move tool on the notes. Control-Z, as in zebra, is undo, Control-Z. So as you can see, I can go undo everything that I just did if I keep pressing Control-Z. And then the other command that I want you to know is to zoom in and out. Control+ allows you to zoom in. Control- makes you zoom out. Okay? So I'm going to go make that image smaller by pressing Control-T because I just barely undid that while I was showing you guys. And then I'm going to show you your next really awesome tool, which is the crop tool. You always want to crop your images before you put them on your project like this. If you were to go crop right now, it would crop not only this image, but also the background, and we don't want to do that. We just want to crop this specific image. For this specific assignment, you're supposed to crop all of your pictures into squares. So I'm going to show you how to do that. This right here is the crop tool. As you can see, the crop trims or expands the edges of an image. So go ahead and write that down in your notes. Trims or expands the edges of an image. Perfect. We're going to go ahead and crop this into a square. To do that, we have to click up at the top left corner where it says ratio, and we're going to put it on square. As you can see, we can move this around to make it perfect, just the way we like it. And now we have it cropped into a square. All that extra space gets deleted. And then if I wanted to, and I didn't want it to be a square, I could click clear, and it would allow me to do freeform cropping, which means I could crop it to any dimension that I want it to. But you have to click clear. You can't have it set on square if you want it to be freeform. When you're done cropping, you have to make sure you press enter so that it records your information. Awesome. Okay, so we've gone over the move tool, we've gone over some commands, we've learned how to open our image, and we've learned how to create a new blank document. I'm going to go ahead and get off of the crop tool because I don't want to crop anymore. I want to go to my save tool, which is the move tool. I'm going to also go ahead and delete that image because I want to put my new image on there once we've finished editing. So let's go ahead and edit our image. We're going to go through and learn about these top 7 or I think 8 editing tools. To find your adjustments, they're obviously over on this right hand side, but if they're not showing up on your Photoshop, you can go to Window, Adjustments, and when you click on that, it should pop up just like that. That's how you can find your adjustments. So let's start with brightness and contrast. And as I'm explaining these things, go ahead and write down the definition of things in your notes. I'll start by explaining the definition of brightness. Brightness adds more light into the light areas of your photograph. They only add more light into the light areas. As you can see, the dark areas still stay pretty dark. So that's brightness. I'm going to brighten up my picture just a tiny bit because I don't think it needs too much more brightness. And it depends on what you want to do with your photo, depending on what your style is. Contrast makes the darks darker and the lights lighter. Contrast makes the darks darker and the lights lighter. As you can see, when we increase the contrast, it makes the difference between the darks and the lights more obvious. When we decrease the contrast, you can't really see those darks and lights at all anymore. I'm going to increase the contrast just a tiny bit, right about there.